Hello everyone. In this video, we'll see runtime polymorphism in C++. First of all, we need to understand what is polymorphism. Polymorphism means having single name and many forms. This is specifically with the functions where we have same function name but multiple implementations. Polymorphism can be implemented by two ways. One is the early binding, second one is late binding. Because we have the same name and multiple implementations, matching the function call with its proper definition is called as a binding. And if this binding happens at a compile time, this is called as early binding. The same concept is also called as static binding as well as compile time polymorphism. Now the second part is the late binding, where matching function call to its proper definition happens at a runtime. So this is also called as dynamic binding or runtime polymorphism, and this can be implemented with function overriding with virtual functions, whereas early binding happens with function overloading or with operator overloading. Note that the two important properties of inheritance, most specifically with polymorphism, are the base class function can be redefined. The functions can be redefined in derived class, and this concept is called as function overriding. It is not overloading, function overriding. So this is one important thing. And second thing is the base class pointer or reference variable can point to the objects of derived class. So we can declare the pointer of base class and it can point to object of derived class. This is possible only because of inheritance. And the concept of this late binding can be achieved in C++ using virtual function. So C++ has a keyword called as virtual that is used to implement the virtual functions. Now what is use of this polymorphism or where to use it? Let us see one small demo where we'll try to build a simple game. So this game is having multiple players and multiple weapons like pistol, knife, missile, sword, bomb, etc. Every entity can be implemented as a separate class. So let us start with implementing the class player. For this class, I'll take one data member called as name as a string, and let us write the parameterized constructor to initialize the name. So let us try to make it simple. So this is my class player. Let us create one object of this class, so player p1, and let me pass some name to it. This is how player is created. Now let us implement the weapon pistol. So class pistol, and I'll just write one public method which will load the features of pistol. So to make it simple, I'll just display one message loading pistol features. So this is simple class pistol. Now in order to load the feature in the player, let me add one public method in class player called as load pistol, where I'll pass the pointer of pistol and I'll display name of the player and I'll call the method load features of pistol. Now in order to call it, let us call the method p1.loadPistol and I'll call new pistol, so it is new constructor. Save it, compile it using clang, run it. Now player unwith loads pistol features. Let us implement next weapon, say for example knife. So let me simply copy it and paste it. I'll just modify the pistol with knife, so the message becomes like loading knife features. Again, in order to load the features in class player, I'll add one more method called as load knife. I'll pass the pointer of knife and call the load feature method using this pointer. So let us create one more player with some name, and now this player will load, say, knife. So new knife, it calls the constructor creates new object, and that will be passed to load knife. Let us save it, compile it and run it. Now it is working fine for both the weapons. Now coming back, if you observe it here, in order to implement other weapons, we need to write a separate class, that is fine, but implementing weapon implies that we need to modify class player. So one of the solution is runtime polymorphism. So we'll make use of base class weapon, in which we'll add method called as load features, which will load the feature of a specific weapon. And now our class pistol will use this class weapon as a base class. Similarly, class knife also makes use of class weapon as a base class. And now we'll write load features method somewhat more generalized, wherein we'll pass the pointer of weapon, and because this is a base class pointer, it will load the feature of actual weapon which will pass here. So player 1 loads pistol features and player 2 loads knife features. Let us save it, compile it and run it. It fails actually because both are calling the weapon features, because we have not used virtual keyword. So let us make this load feature method as a virtual method. That is the only change required. Save it, compile it, run it. Now it is working fine. So for Anvit it loads pistol feature, for Aditri it loads knife feature. Similarly, we can implement other weapons without modifying class player. This is how we can use runtime polymorphism. Another use could be like this. Organization have different types of employees. Say for example, in this diagram I have shown managers and engineers, and suppose there is an appraisal system, and in appraisal system organization raises the salary. Then every type of customer, say like managers have their own raise salary function and engineers have their own raise salary function, but still we can implement this functionality as a common function to all the employees, where we can pass the array of pointers of employee to the function, and the function will call raise salary function without even knowing what type of object is there. So automatically compiler will invoke looking at the actual object, the raise salary function of that. Let's see how compiler performs runtime resolution. So this is the class. Whenever compiler come across virtual functions in any class, it makes use of two data structures. First one is the vtable. This is required only one per class, and it holds addresses of virtual functions. So compiler will check, like here function 1 is virtual function, so address of this will be inserted. Function 2 will not be added. Function 3 is virtual, so it will be also added. So this is the vtable. Now next data structure is vptr, and this is required per object. So suppose this is the main in which we created the pointer of base class. The next statement is b is equal to new base. Note that this new base will call the constructor of base class and it will create the object. With all the things, it also includes vptr, and the constructor of base class will assign this vptr with the address of vtable. And now this newly created object will be pointed by b. Whenever we make use of this b to call any virtual function, it will follow the b to locate the pointed object. Here it is base class object. From that it will look for the vptr. It will follow vptr to look vtable, and vtable contains the address of that function. So it is how it calls the function. Now suppose the same class, the class base, is derived using another class. Whenever a class with virtual function is used for derivation, the derived class also has the virtual function in it. So again, compiler here creates vtable for derived class. Here function 1, function 2, function 3, three functions from base class will be derived here, out of which function 1 is redefined here. So this is called as a function overriding. So function 1 is also virtual because it is from base class. So vtable of derived class contains two functions, function 1 and function 3. Note here carefully, function 1 is from derived class because it is redefined in derived class, and function 3 is from base class. Now let us modify this main function. Now this main function, it creates the object of now derived class. So this object will be modified. So constructor of derived class will be called and it creates object of derived, and now vptr will point to the vtable of derived class. So whenever we are making use of this b to call any virtual function, it will follow the pointer to go to the derived object. It will find out vptr, and now vptr points to vtable of derived class where it will find the address of proper function. So this is how, even though the data type of this pointer is base, it calls the function from derived class. To conclude, the rules for virtual functions are: only declaration needs the virtual keyword, not the definition. Virtual function cannot be static. Virtual functions cannot be frame function of another class. To achieve runtime polymorphism, virtual function should be accessed using pointer or reference of base class. The prototype of virtual function should be same in base as well as derived class, including return type also. Note this including return type is important because typically this is not considered when we use function overloading. And virtual functions are defined in base class and overridden in derived class, but it is not mandatory, because if they are not redefined by derived class, then the base class version of the function is used. Thank you.